everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. Today I want to show you how to upcycle a skirt that is too small for you. Having been plus size all my life and being a big fan of going thrifting, sometimes I will find something that is just a stellar piece, but it's not in my size. The good thing is that for skirts, it's actually fairly easy to upsize a skirt to your size. The main thing that you need in that skirt is extra length. There are other methods to increasing skirt sizes if that skirt is pleated or gathered to begin with, but in this case, we are going to take an A-line skirt, which is quite long, and make it a shorter A-line skirt, but one that actually fits my waist. So the skirt that we are going to be working with today is this. I know, it's gorgeous. I saw it at Value Village and I could not take it home, especially because it was 50% off and I think I paid $7.50 for this beautiful piece right here. So this is a formal wear type skirt and it was meant for someone a lot smaller than I am. I don't know that I measured the original waist here, but it's pretty significant. So what I figured out is that to get to my waist measurement, we want to chop off about 7 inches of the top of this skirt. So to begin with, what I have done is I have drawn a line. I don't know if you can see that orange line, but I have drawn a line down from the top of the skirt about 7 inches down all the way around. And the first thing that I'm going to do, because this skirt has a lot of different layers within it, and I want to work with all of those layers all at the same time so that I don't have to do everything like piecemeal. I just want them to kind of all be treated as one to go into a new waistband. So the first thing that I'm going to do is where I have made that line, I am going to lay this flat on my table and pin across that line. I guess I should say one other thing that I already did, which you don't necessarily have to do, but it does make it a little bit easier, is that on this side, there is a zipper. But what I did here was I actually went and I opened this seam up. Really, it's past where I need to go. This is much farther than 7 inches, but I opened it up so that I could approach this, laying it kind of at a flat situation. So now I can go ahead and lay just one side on the table and pin where this line is, making sure that everything is nice and smooth on the inside. Once that's pinned in place, I am going to just sew on the sewing machine. Obviously, look out if you're working with fabric like this because it's sequins and my sewing machine is going to hate me for it. But I am going to sew on the sewing machine on that line where I've pinned it in place so that it is all nice and smooth. And that is going to be the basting that will really help keep things in place for us and help to make this act all as one piece of material. There's a lot of stuffing and stuff down here as well. Luckily, that's really not going up as high as where we're dealing with here. So this should be a fairly simple fix of once we have basted that in place, then we can cut off the excess and then work at putting this into a new waistband. So I'm going to go do all of those steps. I'll show you what it looks like and I'll show you once that part is done. So I now have it pinned. I pinned right on the line and I'll just remove the pins as I sew, and you can see that it is pretty nice and smooth on the inside as well where those pins are. I did also decide to take out the zipper. I'm hoping to be able to reuse this zipper anyway, and it was just getting in my way with the bulk down here. So I took out the zipper and the placket, and now I will be able to baste over that line. And now that I've basted on that line, I am just going to cut about a 1/2 inch above that line because that will get rid of all of this too small excess that I know I don't want to work with. I don't know if this is going to be the exact right spot. I might need to go a little lower, but this will at least give me an area that I can start to actually work with because it is very close to my waist measurement. It's probably honestly slightly larger than my waist measurement, but I would rather that a skirt is not super fitted at the waist. Honestly, I prefer like a gathered or pleated skirt. There's just not room to do that with this, but if I can ease it into a waistband, that's okay too. So I think I've given myself about an inch or so of ease on this. Okay, don't mind the huge mess in front of the mirror, but we're gonna do this little part mirror style. So the skirt does now fit around my waist and I do have that little bit of ease. However, there's two things going on. One, I feel like this skirt, do you like my Halloween socks? I feel like this skirt is actually a little longer than I would want, like maybe by about 2 inches or so. And two, I measured down from the top evenly, but I just feel like this is not even. I don't think it's that it's caught on my hip, because when I have it like this, the hem looks even. And so, yeah, there is definitely something going on. Obviously, this would have been in the original making of the skirt. It's weird. So I've got to figure out what's going on there. And I think that's going to involve measuring up from the bottom to the top. I tend to like my skirts about 31 inches. This one could go a little bit longer, but I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure up from the bottom just to see if we really are completely off on this side. And if so, we're going to fix that and obviously cut off. But I think either way, it does want to be a little bit lower. So I'll wind up repeating the process of making that basting stitch just a little lower and potentially even. And that way I can get the skirt really just how I want. But it's already looking really cute. All right, skirt length has been fixed. So it is now 33 inches. Well, actually, it's 33 inches to where the line that I now have rebasted is. So it's 33.5 inches total because I cut off that top. I was actually only off by 1/2 inch before. I don't know why it looked so much longer, but it was only 1/2 inch longer over here. So let me tell you what I was thinking about, and we'll go to the next step. So my next thing was that originally I thought that my plan was to cut off that excess and then put back in the zipper and put on a fitted waistband, because there wouldn't be that much gathering to my waist. There'd only be that little bit of easing. But that was with cutting down the skirt to just about fit my waist measurement, as opposed to cutting it down for the length that I wanted. So now that I've cut it down for the length that I wanted, the waist measurement is really significantly bigger. It's almost to my hip measurement. Like, probably if I tried, I could get this over my hips. In fact, yes, it fits over my hips. So that means that it's significantly larger than my waist measurement, because I have a difference of about 10+-ish inches between. So now it's going to be a gathered skirt that would go into a fitted waistband with a zipper. But I want to try something first, because that method would take me like 2 hours, and because, you know, zippers are just not the nicest things to deal with. But if I do this on an elastic waistband, I could get this done in 15-20 minutes. So I'm going to try to do this on an elastic waistband, because I happen to have pink elastic skirt waistband, skirt elastic, in my stash. It's not the exact same shade of pink, but I mean, it'll work because I'll probably put a belt on it or something anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to try to use this skirt waistband elastic, and what you see on here is that I have put pins marking this into 1/8. So first, I did this a little bit tighter than I normally would on a skirt, just because this is a fairly heavy skirt, which is why I'm not positive this will work. If it works, great. If not, I'll go ahead and do the fitted waistband. But I went ahead and made this a little bit smaller than I normally would for a waistband, keeping in mind that this is fairly stretchy elastic. I seamed together the ends, and when I seam it, this one, I actually did 2 rows of stitching right here at the center. First, I had done a 2.5mm stitch. Then it just seemed like when I pulled it this way, it was gapping a lot. So I did another 2mm right here over it, just right on top of the stitch line, and it's doing much better now. And then I stitched down the seam allowances right here so that it would be flat. So then when I do an elastic waistband, I divide the waistband up into 1/8. To do that, I fold it on the seam, find the halfway point, put a pin in there. You could also do a marking, but I like doing it with pins, and then fold those two together and find the quarter-way marking, put a pin in there, and then again to take the quarter-way marking, fold it, and find the 1/8 marking. So I do that with the waistband. Now I'm going to go do that with the skirt, and then I'm going to match them together, pinning them together in place so that it's all divided by 1/8. And then I'll show you how I run it through the sewing machine. So this is what it looks like when it's pinned together. Obviously that there is more to the skirt part than there is to the elastic, but as you sew, you just stretch it out and it becomes flat to flat. So it's perfect, and I will attempt to get that camera angle as I'm sewing. I start the sewing machine right on a pin spot and then pull and stitch. Make sure you're pulling from both the back and the front. And make sure your edges line up. Occasionally you will have to stop to readjust even before you get to a pin. And every time that you get to a next pin, you will also readjust. So trying to get this finished skirt in the frame is going to be nearly impossible, but it's done! I did wind up using the elastic. I did a lot of like spinning and twisting, and it seems to be staying all in place, so that is great. It is a pretty heavy skirt. There are actually 4 layers to this skirt, but everything seems to be staying. So that seems like it works, and now I have a new skirt instead of having it hang up on my to-do list, these things need alterations rail for 2 months like it has been doing. I think it's cute, it's comfortable at the waist. The one downside, no pockets. But what can you do? I mean, I could have added some in, maybe I will at some future time, but the side seams on this are actually like really, really weird giant French seams, and I don't want to get in with all that, which is why the zipper idea was really daunting as well. So new skirt done. Super, super easy to upsize this. Obviously I could have done a fitted waistband as well. I'm gonna move this camera angle up right now so I don't have to talk like this. So yeah, obviously a fitted waistband would have worked just as well. It would have been a lot more work to put in that zipper and do a fitted waistband, but an elastic waistband is so comfy and so flexible, and Joann's has these wide skirt elastics and they're just really, really great. So I'd say, you know, go get yourself a skirt that's too small for you from the thrift store. Go get yourself some waistband elastic and make a skirt that fits you. I do hope that this video was helpful for you. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week, with my sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays and other costuming videos out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon and Angela. Thank you so, so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!